Alrighty, so it's 7:10 on Monday, December 6th, 2021, and I'll call the meeting to order. And I'll ask if there's any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none. So we are just a few minutes late. We should have started at 7 o'clock, but we've had some technical difficulties getting everybody online and audio all working. And for myself, my internet connection is not as good as it typically is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand the chair and the virtual gavel over to Deputy Mayor Hendricks so she can chair the remainder of the meeting for me so we don't have any more hiccups throughout the meeting. So I'll hand that over to you and enjoy chairing the meeting.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So our next order of business are the minutes of the previous meetings, the minutes of November 15th and November 22nd. And moved by Betty Ann, seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried. So we have a fair amount of correspondence, and wave at me if my audio isn't good, if I'm not speaking up enough. Our first correspondence or first upcoming meetings are our next Adelaide Metcalfe Council meeting on Monday, December 20th. And also another meeting on Monday, January 17th. The Roma conference, which is the 22 conference, is virtual on January 23rd to January 25th. And the Good Roads conference will be in person in Toronto, February 27th to March 2nd. And we have our recommended readings. Asable Bayfield Conservation Authority minutes from October. St. Clair Region Conservation Authority draft budget presentation. Blue Water Recycling Association November notes. And the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks Conservation Authorities Act guidance to support the implementation of Phase 1 regulations. And in action yes, Councillor McKinnon.
Through you, Marianne, to Council. The draft budget for St. Clair Conservation was presented on November the 10th to all the municipalities asking for input. I haven't seen anything come from our council, so I'm assuming there aren't any objections to the budget and that I could support the budget at the next meeting of St. Clair. Is that correct? Am I correct in my assumption?
I'll ask, does anybody else on council have any concerns with the budget? I'm not seeing any concerns, so I would say that's safe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have some resolutions. The first one is from the City of Kitchener liquor license sales and patio extensions.
I was file.
Okay. The next one is from the municipality of Matisse, Belcote, on property assessment.
I was support.
Okay. Did we have any thoughts from from the rest of council?
If I may, Deputy Mayor, I think the problem lies, it's just like I'm an old bird, obviously. So when you look back historically at wage and price controls, things like that don't work. So what ends up happening is there's going to be sticker shock when the lift comes off. So I think it needs to come off sooner than later, even if it is gradual and even if it is less than anticipated, it needs to move forward. So I think we need to support this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
With this one, I do agree that we should support this in principle. The hard part is when I'm reading through it and it's saying the loss of taxation revenue. And at the end of the day, MPAC, whatever the assessment is not based off of what a municipality should be budgeting for. A budget should be budgeted based off of what they're planning on spending and what the outcome and the forecast is in a municipality. And seeing that they're saying it's a taxation revenue loss is hard for me to swallow, considering it's just hand in hand and how those properties are taxed themselves. So it's not a loss, it's just how those tax dollars will be brought in from those properties.
Okay. So is there a motion then on the floor? Yes, Councillor McKinnon,
I'll
move
move
to
to
support, I'm
support.
assuming. Yeah. Okay, do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that's carried. Our next resolution is from the town of Georgina around agricultural and marine plastic wrap. Okay, not seeing anything. And
Yeah.
the final resolution is from the Canadian Union of Public Employees, CUPE, on the underperformance of the Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement Savings Plan, or OMERS. And did we have any more discussion? Yes, Councillor McKinnon.
I was in favor of supporting the resolution.
Okay,
I have
And,
questions.
sure. Councillor Clark.
I can, after Curtis is seconding it, I can ask the questions after that.
I'll second that.
Okay.
So for the discussion. So my question is, and I've brought this up before with someone else. So I'd like someone to speak. I don't know if Morgan, you can speak to this or not. So is it my understanding from the bit that I've read is that OMERS has their own in-house investment team. They do not have outside portfolio managers. They have on-staff portfolio managers. Is that correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Clark. From what I understand, I believe that to be true, but I don't have an intimate knowledge of how OMER's plan works today.
Okay. So it's no secret, like the bond portfolios everywhere have underperformed based on interest rates rising. So a portfolio that's heavily weighted in bonds has not performed well, and that's a factual statement. I guess there's no cost to having them being evaluated. So is this being done via an RFP, or is it how is this assessment being carried out?
Through the chair to Councillor Clark, it's a good question. One that I don't have an answer to. I'm sure OMERS, as they are responsible for many public funds and municipalities are large stakeholders, I'm sure they would have a transparent and open procurement process for third-party review. However, depending on their procurement policy, they might not have to go through something like this, depending on the costs of the work or other governance-related decisions that are that oversee their administration group.
Okay, yeah, I can support this. This is not unique in this environment, given portfolios, so it's probably a good exercise. It makes people accountable, because if it's all in-house employees, how do you know you have the best portfolio managers in the business? You've just got the people that work for you, and they may not necessarily be the best in the industry. So I would support this.
Okay, not seeing any more comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor of supporting this resolution?
Aye.
And, okay, and that's carried. Okay, and so with that, we just need a motion to file items number CC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. All those in favor? Or I guess I better get a mover and a seconder. Counselor Brody
I'll second
and a
that.
seconder. Okay, Counselor Clark, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's carried. Now, on to the staff reports, and we have, the first one is with Mr. Neely, our tender results for the Peters drain. Did we, oh, there he is. Okay,
Yes,
you're in the middle now.
thank you for that. I am pleased to provide these results that we have received 4 bids on this project. This is a standard drain reconstruction. The background report, Peters drain went to council consideration on September 7th of this year. The Board of Revision was held October 4th, and the tenders were issued for this project on October 26th, and closed on November 25th. I myself was involved with Jess Butchery, financial assistant or analyst, I'm sorry. And the terms of the procurement policy were followed with, as I said, 4 qualified contractors submitting bids. And estimated cost was $239,270 plus HST. And see in the table, the lowest bid was McNally Excavating at $225,000 even. Second lowest was Van Reed Drainage at $227,937. We'll go into the others. That's west of that. Recommendation is that council accepts the tender submitted by McNally Excavating, amount of $225,000 plus HST. Carry out these works.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Are there any comments from council? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I guess through to Andrew, just wondering, other than the price difference between McNally and Van Bree, it's it's just shy of $3,000 difference, but the start to finish dates are drastically different. Is there any benefit to spending the extra close to $3,000 to have the job finished by August 14th?
That's a good question. Typically, the dates have less bearing. Normally, the lowest bid is the winner. However, if that was something that council wanted to explore, or whatever it may be, that is an option.
Okay. I also had the same thoughts. If it was my farmland, $3,000 is a pretty small amount considering the damage you can do and the amount of time that your land is out of commission. It's already being ripped up all summer, and then you can't even clean it up in the fall if you're not guaranteed to be finished by the end of December. To me, and I think the farmers that are paying a substantial cost of that would agree that in the whole amount to that, $3,000 is a small amount considering the amount of damage you would do if they were in there tiling in November November's usually pretty wet. So,
How many
Um,
property holders, how many ratepayers are affected by this drain?
That I don't have in front of me. The actual placement of the drain, I believe there's, I think, 4 properties that it spans, but I don't have the exact number.
Okay, thank you.
yes, Councillor McKinnon?
Through you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks, to Andrew. Andrew, the start and the end date, those are just dates that they must start by and must have it finished by. But given the circumstances that the weather may be more conducive to getting it done earlier, that doesn't mean that they're going to wait until December, does it?
No, through the deputy mayor to Councillor McKinnon, no. It is, I think what the issue here is that there is a different range that has been provided, but if you do notice that the earliest possible date would be a month different.
Yeah.
It's really, it may not be that much of a difference in time frame. It's just that the lowest bid has a wider time frame that's been provided.
Mhm. Thank you, Andrew.
Morgan had a question. I don't know if that is.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry, it's been a great conversation so far, but I'm just not sure if the tender allows for us to make a decision outside of lowest cost. So I guess, Andrew, my question would be, does the tender provide for the ability to make a different decision beyond lowest cost? Because normally tenders are, you're paying for a thing, it's exactly what the thing is, and it's going to be the lowest cost. So
Yes, that is reasonable. However, the tender does say that the municipality is not bound to the lowest or any bid.
perfect.
However, that being said, there is a certain level of liability that is attached to choosing the non-lowest, I guess you would say. And that is something that that should be mentioned. I guess what I'm saying is it worth going to court potentially for a matter of maybe $3,000?
I don't know if we've ever done that before, but I'm tempted to defer it to check out that dates, check out the dates, because I think that will be very important to those particular farmers. Is it possible, are we bound to notify the contractors before investigating a little farther?
If that is a direct question to me, that is a possibility. I would like to add that if we do delay this, that I believe it's 40 to 45 days, the contractor is no longer obligated to keep that low price or keep that price at all. That price is basically nullified at that point. So I guess what I'm saying is that we do have to come up with a plan reasonably quickly.
Okay, Councillor Brody?
Through you, Mary Ann, to Andrew, that with McNally excavating, that could be just a pretty blank, because I'm sure they're quoting some jobs. So, I mean, if they're in there at early on, I can't see them dragging it out till December anyways. I think that's just probably a wide blank statement on any kind of tender. So I think we move with McNally excavating. They are the lowest bidder, and just make sure Andrew notifies them that, you know, hey, we don't really want this job to drag on. Everybody else was August. So, we'll do the best
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Brody. Typically, projects will last like this, 2 weeks to a month. It would be very rare that it would span months and months. That is just a wide range of start date.
Is that a motion, Mike?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Clark. That we go with the recommended bidder of McNally Excavating.
Mhm.
All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, I'm dealing with delays, so I'm not sure if Councillor Clark was opposed or in favor. Also the mayor. Okay. So
I'll vote
Councillor
in
Clark has approved.
Yes.
And
You saw my thumb.
okay.
Okay, good.
so that's carried. Whew. I'll have to be a little patient with the delays here. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. And you're free unless you really enjoy watching all of this.
Have a good night.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is our budget to annual report from our treasurer. So I'll ask Johnny Prayer to step up.
All right, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Through the council, we have in front of us the October 2021 budget to actual report. A couple of notes from the past report is the inclusion of the budget amendment for Kerwood Park. That's the $301,000 adjustment to both revenue and expense. We've also seen the first payment certificate come through for the construction to date for the park, and that's about $161,000. The remaining expenses are still lagging due to those larger public works projects. Invoices will be trickling in, but that is another reason for the gap in the expense. Overall, the recommendation is the budget after report for October 2021 be received for information, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, do we have any questions or concerns from council? I'm not seeing any, so can we have a motion to approve? Okay, moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried. Our next item is the budget survey. And we'll leave the floor to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Through the council, for the first time, Adelaide Metcalfe launched a budget survey to obtain feedback from the community to be used as input into the 2022 budget process. As a council requested public engagement initiative, a budget survey was developed and advertised on the township website and social media. The survey was open from October 14th to November 15th, and we received 104 responses, which is pretty impressive. To put that number into perspective, Middlesex Center, which is a much larger municipality, they only received 207 responses. So that is a great job by the community to complete this. A few survey highlights, which is also included in the report. Approximately 74% of respondents thought the services they received for their tax dollars were either fair, good, or excellent. Approximately 64% of respondents would like to maintain taxes and fees, even if it means reducing some services to maintain others. Approximately 70% of respondents were satisfied with winter maintenance, and 73% would like the township to maintain this level of service. Approximately 58% of respondents were either satisfied or very satisfied with Kerwood Park. 30% had no opinion on this question. 50% of respondents would like to maintain the current level of service, while 22% would like to increase the level of service at the park. And again, 23% have no opinion on this question. Approximately 83% of respondents were very satisfied or satisfied with the service they received for waste and recycling. And 80% of respondents would like the township to maintain this current level of service. In regards to communication preference, we found that 51% preferred email, while 23% preferred regular mail. So this would be noted for future communication methods. As this is the first year of our budget survey, we will be taking a learning approach. We will continue to refine our survey process to ensure we capture our year-over-year trends, but also obtain more specific information to better understand some context to some of these questions. The survey results have been distributed to managers for consideration during the 2022 budget. A full breakdown of the survey is included in the report. All written answers have been summarized, and any inappropriate type responses have been redacted. The recommendation is for the report to be received, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Not seeing any. Could we have a motion to accept the report? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor McKinnon. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried. Okay, and Johnny, you're still up. We have the asset management plan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Through you to Council. In 2016, the Infrastructure for Jobs and Prosperity Act was passed, making asset management a legislated requirement for public sector entities in Ontario. In 2017, Ontario Regulation 588-17 relating to asset management planning for municipal infrastructure was passed. This regulation provides more detailed asset management requirements specific to Ontario municipalities, with a phased-in approach to implementation through 2025. We have completed the first step by implementing the strategic asset management policy. We are currently working towards the remaining requirements. Earlier this year, staff applied to the AMP It Up program to take advantage of free consulting services to build our asset inventory. We are now looking at the next stage, which is to complete the comprehensive asset management plan for all assets, including a financing strategy and a proposed level of service analysis to ensure we meet all future deadlines. To complete this plan, we will need to engage in consulting services. This will be a joint venture between all internal departments, which will be led by finance. Following the township's procurement policy, staff obtained 3 quotes. After reviewing each of the proposals for price, quality of the proposed plan, number of consulting hours, and firm experience, Watson and Associates was selected. We are also working with this firm in our development charge study, so there are also some efficiencies to be had there as well. Based on the proposal, the cost for this plan is $28,125 before taxes. Since the deadline for this plan is July 1st, 2022, I am recommending that we begin the kickoff meeting in 2021. That being said, some costs may be incurred in 2021, with the majority being recognized in 2022. To minimize the impact to the tax base, I'm recommending that the full cost of the asset management plan be funded through the Canada Community Building Fund, or formerly the Federal Gas Tax Fund. It is important to note that the township did receive an additional $92,000 earlier this year from the top-up fund. So it can be allocated here, and I'm recommending, but it's up to council. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Do we have any questions or concerns or comments from anyone on council? Okay. Mike Barnier, do you want me to read out the whole recommended motion, or?
No, that's fine. I can read it quickly if you would like.
Well, I can read it. I just,
it's
I
not
was going
required
to
if you just want to pass the motion.
a
we proceed.
motion to move forward with the recommendation to approve the proposal from Watson and Associates and fund the asset management plan from the Canada Community Building Fund. So can I have a mover for that? Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. Any more comments? All in favor? And
Aye.
that's carried. Okay, and thank you, Mr. Pereira. We'll move on to our next report, the municipal auditor request for proposal, and we'll hear from our CAO, Morgan Calvert.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to council. We'll keep this one fairly light, I think, but traditionally the township hasn't gone through a procurement process for a municipal auditor in quite some time. What we're looking to do, well, through an RFP process that was completed earlier this year, it was a cooperative process with Southwest Middlesex. They did the cooperative development charges study for us, so we took the lead on a cooperative RFP for the municipal audit services outcome. Through that RFP, we had a couple of really solid proposals and one no bid. The no bid was due to the size of Adelaide Metcalfe. We're just a little bit too small for some of those bigger firms. Through the process and the evaluation of it, we landed on Graham Scott Ends, which was actually, I think that made Johnny quite happy because we get some continuity in our auditors. They've been doing a great job for us the last couple of years since I've been here anyway. So we're all pretty thrilled with the outcome. And saying that, we're proposing that council approve the RFP process and the attached contract to enter into a 5-year term with Graham Scott Ends.
Okay. Are there any comments from council? If not, then could we have a motion to approve the recommendation? Mayor Smith, seconded.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Clark. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Morgan. And we'll move on to Public Works with the Christmas tree chipping program. Welcome, Kay Coulter.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks. I won't waste your time too much on this one. Just a couple keynotes. Blue Water Cycling Association offered a Christmas tree tripping program annually. A designated tree drop-off area will be set up at the Public Works garage, and information on the program will be posted on the township website and social media. Since this is a free service that is totally operational, I would like to set this up annually without bringing it to council if they wish. And I'll leave it there for any questions or the recommendation.
Okay. Any comments from council? Yes, Councillor Brody.
Through Marianne to Calder. So we got enough trees to make this viable. Like it's a good idea. in that way?
Yeah, Councillor Brody, actually last few years, we've got quite a bit more every year. So I think last year we had close to 20, 25 trees. So it's definitely worth doing, I think.
Okay.
Otherwise we're picking them up in the ditch, so.
Yeah. Yep. No, sounds good.
Okay, so is that a motion to receive the report for information?
Sure.
Yeah, Councillor Brody,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried. And again with you, Coulter, the contract renewal for Aqua.
Yeah, my second report is just basically outlining the contract renewal with Aqua. As you all are aware, we do have a wastewater treatment plant in Kerwood. The township entered into an agreement with Aqua on September 21st, 2021. By entering into this agreement with Aqua, we resolved an MOECP compliance issue, as well as supported the succession plan for our fire chief. The initial term of the agreement was 16 months, ending on December 31st, 2021. Entering into this short-term agreement gave us time to understand performance in our operational requirements. It is very important to have this agreement with Aqua for the provision of their services for Kerwood wastewater treatment plant. This ensures the township stays in compliance with all MOECP requirements. The contract has been working very well for the township, and Aqua has been very great to deal with. The new contract provides for the existing services for Kerwood wastewater treatment plant, but will also allow us to add additional services to the contract based on our potential future needs along the commercial corridor, depending on the servicing agreement outcome with Strathroy Caradoc. This contract is a 5-year term starting January 1st, 2022. The contract allows for consistency and certainty in service provision while we undertake potential changes to how services are provided along the commercial corridor. Attached is the amending 2022 to 2026 agreement with Aqua. As you can see, year one, the cost is $36,782.22. This is obviously paid monthly, and I will open it up for any questions from council.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions? Yes, Councillor McKinnon.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Hendricks, to Coulter. So under Schedule E, the insurance, so we're providing the insurance on behalf of Aqua, is that correct?
I'm just looking here, hold on 1 second. I'm actually, I don't know, Morgan, do you have the answer to that question by any chance?
That's a good question, Coulter. I'm just looking at it here now. We did compare it to the previous, previous agreement, and the only thing that had changed was the deductible for the year. It was 2020 originally, and now 2022. When we compared the new with the old.
Yes, Councillor McKinnon.
So further to my question then, I guess we're providing the insurance, and are we then going to Frank Cowan and having that insurance on our policy to make sure that we have covered it?
So Frank Cowan has seen the agreement previously, but because we didn't see significant changes in this update, we haven't run it back through Frank Cowan yet.
Are there any further questions or comments? Or are we ready for a motion?
So, Madam Chair, if it makes council more comfortable, we can bring this one back to December 20th because we still have a little bit of time there where we have run this Schedule E through Frank Cowan one more time. Just noting that there is a question from council. We just compared old with new and everything was fine. And we knew that in comparison anyway, we knew that the insurance provider had already seen this agreement. So we did skip that step. But happy to reach out to Tony tomorrow morning and get this one resolved.
Okay, so would we like a motion to defer to the next meeting? Yes, Councillor McKinnon.
I'll move to defer to the next meeting.
Okay, can we have a seconder for that?
I can second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Not usually on a deferral, but go ahead.
So you're fine with this more? I think it's just a matter of just double checking that. I think sometimes this is just having us listed on somebody else's policy.
As their, yeah.
So
Yeah,
at least over time, because the contract's going to be that doesn't give it much time, but I guess
what I could say is through the chair to Councillor Brody, if I get something that worries me back from the insurance company, then I can bring this back. But I'm not anticipating that I would get that comment back from Frank Cowan, or not Intact Insurance now, it's not even Frank Cowan, but I'm just not sure what the motion would look like for Mr. Barney, that's all.
that's where I'm just wondering if we just changed it, as long as something doesn't drastically jump up for Frank Cowan, we might as well should go ahead with Aqua.
Okay, so first we have to vote down the deferral motion before we do anything else,
Amend,
if
yeah.
that's what council wants to do, unless it gets withdrawn. So all in favor? Opposed?
No.
Okay, so that motion's lost. So we'll go ahead with the, does somebody want to move that we move forward with the recommendation to approve the agreement with Aqua, between Aqua and the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign and execute the bylaw and agreement?
Just where are we going to add that? We're just more
Pending review of the insurance matters.
Yes.
Okay. So that's moved by Councillor Brody.
Yeah.
We have a seconder for that.
I can second that.
I'll second that.
Okay. Councillor Clark. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. The next item, we don't have an attachment for the site plan agreement, and I'll put it back to our CAO, Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to council, there was some urgency in getting this report to council. That's why we wanted to leave the title there, and we're going to try to do a walk-on report, but unfortunately, a couple of the engineers were still trying to hash out some things regarding the Cuddy Drain along Center Road regarding this site plan approval or agreement, sorry. So we are basically pulling this, but I did want to take a moment just to say thanks to everybody that helped us try to get this site plan agreement or development agreement to council. It was quite a bit of work last week. There was a lot of coordination that occurred. But it was really, the urgency was due to the timing of the year that we're getting into, probably some frozen ground, and we wanted to support the basically concrete in the ground before we dealt with severe weather. So just thanks to everybody on the screen and behind the screen that helped us get to this point, but we'll likely see this on the December 20th council meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is closed meeting. So I will need a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. In this case, Public Works and Engineering, equipment operator hiring process, and the fire chief hiring process. And moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's carried.